What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel and to another WNBA video. We have a 3-game slate to jump into for Saturday, June 7th, so we'll break down and analyze each of those games. We're going to talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points and the spread, and we'll also go over any player props in those games that I like. And then any plays that I put in officially myself, make sure you check down there into the pinned comment. You're going to find a link down there that will send you over to the Guy Boston Sports website. That's where all of my final plays are going to live for free. But before we jump into this slate, let's go ahead and take a look back at what we took on Thursday and how that ended up going down. And it went pretty good, man. We go 3-1 on the night. We lose our Liberty team total overplay over 86.5. They land at 86, so we lose that one on the hook. But it was all good after that, man. We took another same game parlay with those Washington Mystics rookies, man. Kiki Arifin and Sonia Citron. And it's another cash, man. 10 plus points for Kiki, along with 6 plus rebounds. She had the points cash in the first quarter. Sonia Citron, 10 plus points. They cash it with ease, man, and we hit it at plus money as well. Awesome, man. Gotta love it. And then we took Kayla Thornton under 1.5 3-pointers. She cashes that as well. And then we took another same game parlay, the Mercury on the money line, and then a alternate total under 164.5. This one was a sweat, but we do end up cashing that as well. So like I said, a 3-1 night. We'll take it, man. That puts us at about, 0.69 units that we are up right now. 41-37 overall to begin out this WNBA season. So got a little bit there to build upon, and we can start stacking up on these units, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into the games for today. If you guys don't mind hitting that subscribe button down below and smashing that like button for me, let's go ahead and jump into it. We have the Aces taking on the Golden State Valkyries. Aces are 10.5-point favorites in this one. Total sitting at 159.5. We got a 3 p.m. tip-off. Aces are going to be on the road for the second game of a back-to-back, and we'll get a 3-day break in action after this before returning home to play 7 of their next 8 games. They are 4-2 straight up, 3-3 to the number. Valkyries have lost 4 straight and have dropped to 2-5 straight up, but they have gone 4-3 against the spread. 3-1 as a double-digit dog. Tiffany Hayes has missed the last 4 games with a nose injury, so we'll have to keep an eye on the former ace and the reigning 6th player of the year here for this one. Regardless of if she's in or out, though, the Aces not only have the better outlook after this one as far as rest and home games to come, but also bring a 4-day rest advantage in over the Valkyries for this game as well. Despite the 4-2 start, though, man, Vegas has just kind of felt underwhelming to open up the year. I think part of that is, we've seen them get blown out in each of their losses, for one, and their wins don't feel super impressive on the other hand. It's expected a team with as much talent as they have, would beat up on the likes of the Sparks or the Sun, the way that they did. But they struggled against the Young Mystics. They had to rally late to beat them in that one. And their other win came over the Storm in a 5-point revenge game after being beaten by 20 points previously to Seattle. They are 6th in offensive rating. They are 5th defensively and 5th overall for net rating. So it's not like they are this horrible team by any means. Don't get me wrong. They just haven't really been as impressive as some would have had them preseason, right? Some of the rankings we had them up pretty high, a little higher than I had them here personally. But yeah, nonetheless, definitely been a little disappointing to start the season for the Aces. The Valkyries are coming in at 12th offensively, 9th defensively, and 11th for overall net rating. We have to show the Valkyries some love, though, man. We saw them play New York pretty tough the second time around. They held strong against Minnesota for much of the first half and into the second as well before being overpowered by that title contending Lynx team. And they just held a late 8-point lead over the Mercury their last time out as well. Golden State is just struggling to put it all together for a full 40 minutes. That's to be expected of a team playing through their first 7 games of existence. Thing is, man, despite the inconsistencies and at times lackluster product that we've seen from the Aces so far, it's going to be another tough challenge for the Valkyries, and the Aces should handle business here. Vegas has had 0 troubles with the lower echelon of teams so far this year. With the rest factor involved, the short travel taken into consideration for them as well. I like them to cover here, even with that 10.5 points. I'm not sure that I can get there laying it, but that's the side that I would be leaning on. For the total, man, any game featuring the Golden State Valkyries is going to have a lower number, and it's something that you got to be leery of. The Valkyries have only been able to break 80 points once so far this season in 7 tries. They're averaging just 74 points per game. That is second to last in the W. They play at the 5th fastest pace, however, and they want to push the pace, and they look to the 3-ball a ton as well. They're putting up the most 3-point attempts per contest across the entire league. So if their shots start falling and they start hitting, man, they catch any kind of fire against a team like the Aces that are streaky both offensively and defensively. That unders start becoming a real risky move. So I don't know. So far for me, the best look as far as looking at totals for games involving these Valkyries has been to look at the opponent's team total over the Valkyries team total under, or just stay away from it altogether, man. Looking at the full game has been kind of a risk. This is one though where I'd look at the Vegas team total over, if anything, as I'm not going to trust their defense on the road here personally. I just need to see more from them consistently first before I look at a full game under involving them. And do think that their offense can get rolling today. And I'm also in a spot where I can't trust the Valkyries offense in a consistent manner. I need to see more from them moving forward as well. So if someone besides Asia can get going today for Vegas, they're not going to have any issues getting some points up on the board. And I think I've seen the team total as low as 83.5, depending on how much juice you want to pay. I think it's sitting at 85.5. Then a player prop I'd be looking at in this game would be Kayla Thornton. Her three-pointers just going right back to this one. We just cashed on this one on Thursday. Her three-pointers under 1.5. It is sitting at minus 114 on FanDuel. So a better price than we got it for the other day as well. We can scroll on down here and see that she's hitting that at an 80% rate in her last 5 games, 4 out of the 5. At a 71% rate this season. She's only gone over that mark twice in 7 games and only hit 2 in those. And if we scroll on down and look at her attempts, from 3, we can see that she is averaging 6 attempts per game and only averaging 1 make per 6 attempts. So a 17% rate that she's shooting on the year. You can see she's putting up a lot of shots from outside. They're just not falling. So definitely like that. She has just not shot the ball well so far. And then we can see going up against the Aces, they are sitting at third overall for three-pointers made per game on the defensive side. We can check out this insight from Outlier as well. She has failed to exceed 1.5 three-pointers in 19 straight games versus top 5 defenses for three-pointers made. Like I said, Vegas is sitting at third. So that's a 100% hit rate in her last 19 games for teams sitting inside the top 5. So all in all, looks like a pretty good look here. Again, to run this one back, Kayla Thornton, her three-pointers under 1.5 at minus 114 over there at FanDuel. And next up, we're going to be looking at the Indiana Fever taking on the Chicago Sky. Fever are laying 4.5 in this one. We have a total sitting at 168.5. 8 p.m. tip-off time. After 3 of their last 4 at home, the Fever are going to begin a short 2-game road trip here. They come in at 3-4 straight up. They are 4-3 to the number. They are fresh off of a 9-point win over the Mystics their last time out. The Sky are home here for just 1 game before heading out for a 3-game road trip after this one, but they do bring a 3-day rest advantage in over the Fever for this game here. Chicago has picked up a little bit of steam, man, as of late. They are winners of 2 in a row, but we got to disclose that those 2 wins each come over the Wings back to back. But it's still hard to beat a team back to back, no matter how you cut it, no matter who that team is. So give Chicago some credit there in that regard still. They are 2-4 straight up now, 3-3 against the spread. They have covered in 3 in a row after failing to do so for 3 straight to open up the season. The Fever have gone 1-2 since Clark went down with that quad injury, winning their first game without her their last time out over the Mystics. She's still out for this one here, but will be reevaluated over the weekend and could potentially return next Tuesday versus Atlanta. So, yeah, man, she's just stuck in Angel Reese end of the day, right? But look, Sophie Cunningham is battling with a ankle injury. She is a game time decision here for Indiana, as well as Camila Cardoso of the Sky, who's dealing with a shoulder injury as well. Let's look at these 2 teams in their last 3 games because that's going to give us a more accurate view of the Fever without Clark on the floor, and then also from what we've seen of Chicago lately as they begin to develop into a unit as the season continues on. And it's telling to say the least, man, and not what most would expect. That I'm assuming Indiana over the last 3 games sitting at just 7th for points per game at 81 per. Chicago first, 93 points per game. Sky are pulling in 35 rebounds per game, second in the W. The Fever, just under 26 per outing. That is the fewest in the league. Chicago is also sitting at second for offensive rating, 8th defensively, and 4th overall for net rating in their last 3 games. Indiana, 6th, and 5th, respectively. Chicago has just simply been playing better ball than Indiana coming into this one. And I know, man, back-to-back wins over the Wings, then losing a close one to an injury-filled Mercury team. Doesn't look great at first glance, but it does still look better than the Fever losing back to back to a young Mystics team and then a Sun team that has been the worst team in the W to open up the year, in my opinion. So it's not hard to look at Chicago here as a home dog, man, catching points in a revenge game. Let's not forget that they were embarrassed on opening day by these Fever in a 35-point beatdown. Indiana has taken 4 of the last 5 over Chicago as well, going back into last season. So, Angel Reese, the rest of that Chicago Sky team, they are looking to kick these Fever while they are down, and pounce on this team without Clark out there. So, in their last 3 as well, the Sky are leading the W in mid-range shooting percentage and three-point shooting percentage from the left corner specifically. They are sitting at first for points scored in the paint and second chance points scored. The Fever are giving up the 5th most makes from the mid-range at 45% shooting, the 3rd most threes from that left corner, and then the 3rd highest shooting percentage. And then 2nd most points per game in the paint. They sit at 8th on the year in offensive rebounds allowed. I think they have some trouble here in Chicago, man. I'm with the Sky here. I like having those points in my back pocket, but I could see a path for them winning this thing outright as well. So I like the Chicago Sky. I'd be leaning them, catching those points. For the total, man, it's always a physical affair between these two, and I don't think that changes just because Clark is out. That alone, coupled with this higher number we're seeing with this total here, would have me initially wanting to look at an under, but these are 2 of the fastest teams in the W, with the Fever sitting at 3rd in terms of pace, the Sky 1st. With the way Chicago's offense is starting to roll, the struggles of both defenses throughout the season, I'll lean over, but I like to play on the side here with Chicago way more than I like looking at this total. Then I'd be looking at a couple player props in this game. First of all, I'd be looking at Ariel Atkins, her three-pointers over 1.5. We can get that at -155 over at Bet365. That is definitely the best price because as you can see, it is juice, but as you can see, if we start looking at other books, that juice just gets more and more, right? If you scroll over here and look at Indiana, they are doing pretty well against the 3 so far this season, so that does it is a little bit concerning. We look at them against guards specifically. They're sitting at 4th in terms of three-pointers allowed. But we scroll on down and look at Ariel Atkins. She has hit at an 80% rate in her last 5 games, 4 of her last 5, including 4 the last time out against Dallas. Man, she's just kind of been on fire, right? Look at her down here, the three-pointers made and her attempts. She's hitting at a 40% rate in those last 5 games specifically. And we can look at her head to head against the Fever, and she's had some success, right? Hitting at a 43% rate in her last 5 games against the Fever. Now, these 4 are going to be with the Mystics last season, but she did hit 2 threes as well over the Fever earlier this season in that beatdown on opening day. She was able to knock in 2 on 2 attempts, 100% hit rate there. And then we can see this insight from Outlier. She has exceeded 1.5 three-pointers in 9 straight games at home, averaging 3 threes in those 9 games, a 100% hit rate. So I like that one to start us off here in this game. And then I'd also be looking at Angel Reese and her rebounds over 11.5. She has had a ton of success in her time in the league so far against the Fever specifically. She always shows up big for these games. You can see the one time that she has not hit this mark. She landed right there on the hook at 11 in the 5 games that she has played against these Fever so far in her career. So and if we come over here and look at Indiana against rebounds, they're sitting at just 9th in the league. Then our last game on the slate, looking at the Seattle Storm taking on the Phoenix Mercury. Storm are laying 4.5. We have a total sitting at 157.5 with a 10 p.m. tip-off time. Storm are on the road here for 1 game, and then they're going to return home after this one with 3 days of rest in between. They're coming into this game after a 3-game homestand that saw them go just 1-2 straight up, and they failed to cover in all 3 of those games. Storm sit at 4-4 on the year now, both straight up and against the spread. The Mercury are 6-3 straight up. They are 5-4 to the number. They're going to be home here for the second game of a 3-game homestand. The Storm will have a 2-day rest advantage over Phoenix here as well. It's already the 3rd matchup between these 2 teams here in the first month of play, with each team splitting so far and winning their respective games at home. So much of this game right here, man, or with this game, hinges on the injury report, in my opinion. You have Natasha Mack listed as a game time decision again for Phoenix. She was out at shoot around this last Thursday, indicating that she is getting closer. If not here against Seattle, I think that we see her make her return sometime next week. But the big question mark is Alyssa Thomas, man. Calf injuries are pesky and they linger on and on. She's been listed as a game time decision since news of this came out that she was suffering from this injury last week. And we got to remember that nothing was said on this before it was announced, right? She missed practice on Thursday. That goes unreported. and then she's a late scratch Friday night after not appearing on the injury list at all. Since then, she's been a game time decision in each game passing, missing each game. Now with the Mercury sitting as 4.5-point dogs at home, I think we can expect not to see her out there again for this one here. So this one feels tough to call, man. Phoenix seems to be at a disadvantage here, but they have withstood injury after injury all season long to jump out to the 6-3 record. But they are constantly battling from behind, and that may be enough, against those lower tier teams like the Valkyries, but it's bound to catch up with you at some point against better teams in the W. That's where this one's tough, man, because I'm not sure if Seattle falls into that better team category, man. The good teams they've beaten, the Aces and the Mercury, they've also lost to, as well as losses to the Lynx and the Dream. They haven't been able to put it together against the upper tier teams of the league just yet. And honestly, it was much of the same last season with the Seattle team. And they didn't do much to better this roster in the offseason from last year's squad. They lost Joel Lord. They brought in Alicia Clark. They drafted Malanga, but they've barely utilized her, yet alone to her strength so far to open up this year. So I can't lay points with the Storm. So I'm going to lean Phoenix here, but I'm not sure that I can get there with the side, man, with this game at all. And for the total, both teams have trended towards the under this season, with the Storm landing under in 5 of their 8 games played, the Mercury 5 of their 9, with one of those ones that didn't land under. It was a push. These two head-to-head have also hit 7 straight unders, with the Storm playing to the 3rd slowest pace of the season while scoring just 79 points per game. That is 9th in the W, while giving up the 4th fewest points per game. And then you have the Mercury allowing the 3rd fewest points per game while scoring a just 10th in the league, 78 points per game themselves. So I'm liking an under looking at the total here for this one. The player prop I'd be looking at in this one would be Satu Sabali of the Mercury. Her rebounds and assists over 10.5. We get that at -138 over there at FanDuel. We can see in her last 5 games, she's hitting this at an 80% rate. 4 of the last 5, with that one game that she did not hit landing right there on the hook. And you can see the Seattle Storm against the forward position specifically. They are giving up, they are sitting at 8th for rebounds allowed and sitting at 10th for assists allowed. So we definitely like to see that as well. Overall, sitting at 9th for rebounds, 6th for assists, but then specifically against that forward position, we can see 8th and 10th. And then we can scroll on up here and see head-to-head. She's hitting at a 67% rate against Seattle to this mark, right? 2 of the last 3 games. And then for the season, we can see a 67% rate so far here in 2025, including 6 of the last 7 games played. And if we scroll on up one more time, let's check out this insight over here from Outlier. We can see that she has exceeded this mark in 4 of her last 5 games versus defenses that are bottom 5 for rebounds allowed. We can see that she is averaging 12 rebounds and assists in those games, hitting at an 80% hit rate. So that's Satu Sabali, her rebounds and assists over 10.5. We can get that over there at FanDuel, -138. Now, guys, that is going to wrap it up. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today and hope you found it helpful and useful. And if you did, please do not forget to smash that like button right down there for me, guys, and hit subscribe if you have not already. That's going to do it, man. Hope you guys all cash out today and have a great night, and I'll see you back tomorrow for the next one.